Hey, free-to-play gang, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about Phobetor Projection, who is going to be the easiest Sentinel Hunt boss that there is right now. So most of you guys who are probably not able to partake in Counter Sonica or even Dark Starlord himself, who I think is still the hardest boss, then I think this video is going to help you a lot because this is going to explain how Phobetor works, and his kit is honestly very simple. We can summarize this down to like just 5 main points here. And with these 5 main points, then it's very easy for us to build a team revolving around Phobetor. I know I'm using some very premium espers here, like for example, I'm using Unas and Nusi here. Don't care too much about the espers that I'm using because these are just on my PTR account. I'm just throwing espers that I'm already using anyway, the espers that I've already built. But the thing is, you do not need to have these espers. There are 2 main espers that you need to focus on. So let's get right into it. So point number 1, Phobetor can be put to sleep, and I think this is going to be the most important point in terms of dealing with Phobetor because Phobetor actually takes more damage whenever he is asleep. So as you can see here, when afflicted with sleep, it will take more damage. So it's very important for you to apply a lot of sleep debuffs and then use single target DPS to just knock him out, something like that. So there are going to be certain espers that are going to perform very well over here. So for example, Geist is going to perform really well, Louis is going to perform really well, Chloe is also going to perform really well. But I'm not using any of those espers in this current video, and that's not because they're bad. In fact, they are super good. I'm just trying to play around with like different espers and just showcase different espers as well. So Phobetor can be put to sleep, and I do feel like the most important esper amongst the few espers who can actually inflict sleep, of course you have R6 Pami as well, but I think the most important esper is going to be Celine. Now the reason why Celine is so strong is because on her R6 effect, right, she can actually put the enemy to sleep for 2 turns. So she's the only esper in this game who can inflict 2 turns of sleep onto Phobetor, which means that Phobetor actually stays AFK for 2 entire turns. That is massive. Now of course Steward is going to be an excellent choice because he has 2 sleeping skills, and Abigail is also going to be really good because she has a lot of buffs along with her sleeping effect. So these 3 espers and along with Pami, I think they are going to be excellent in terms of putting enemies to sleep, but I feel like these 3 are going to be like the main sleeping espers for all of your teams. Now point number 2, Phobetor can also be AP reduced. That makes him a lot easier to manage as well. You can both control him with sleeps, and you can also AP manipulate. So here are all the espers that can AP manipulate, but I'm going to focus more on the espers that can AP reduce. And I'm not sure why they don't have Tia here. I think Tia is probably okay. But I think Phantom Sisters are actually one of the better choices here because she does provide your team with a speed up buff, and she's also able to absorb a lot of AP. So I think in terms of just AP control and just turn advantage, Phantom Sisters are actually really good over here. Now Xiaoyin and Sander are obviously going to be good choices. They deal a lot of damage and carry a lot of AP reduction on their kit. Now Lucas is going to be really good, especially when you're manualing, but the thing is his 3rd skill is also able to AP control a little bit better, especially when you're at R6 as well. You can actually start absorbing AP, right? Now Ira is also going to be really awesome, especially if you use her for the leader, because she's going to prioritize herself with her 2nd skill and therefore rotate her skills more efficiently, right? But for the rest of the espers, I don't think I really want to include them. So for example, Sienna, yes, she is good for her buffs, but I don't think she's really that good for her AP reduction because yes, she reduces 100% AP, but that doesn't come by very frequently. And Clara, Fabrice, and Li Guang, they all just gain AP, they don't actually take away AP from the boss. So I think it's quite important for you to remove AP from the boss as well. And of course, this should also be mentioned, but Liling is pretty good at absorbing AP. So if you have him at R6, or if let's say I think like minimally R2, right, he can defense break, he can absorb AP on his 2nd skill, all those stuff are going to be very helpful. But of course, if he's at R6, he's going to be able to absorb more AP because his 3rd skill can actually absorb 30% AP as well. Now point number 3, Phobetor gains Sweet Nightmare after using his 3rd skill while not suffering from disease. Now the thing is, he cannot heal himself, so this disease is really just a random debuff that they just put together just to give some value to certain espers that don't have value in terms of their disease. So this is what Sweet Nightmare does. It is an undispellable buff and damage taken is reduced, and his damage actually ignores defense, but I do believe that this lasts for just a couple of turns. So as you can see here, Phobetor gains Sweet Nightmare for 2 turns. So you need to use espers who are able to inflict disease as well so that you can deal more damage while at the same time protect the rest of your team. So having espers that are really consistent at landing disease is going to be very important. So the main few espers that I can think of is going to be Joza. Joza is definitely going to be the best pick for disease. Embla is also an excellent pick, even though her proc chance is only 50%, but all of your allies can inflict disease when Embla is in the house, right? And then Zora is also really good, especially when she's at R6 because she's going to land a lot of disease from her free 1st skill attacks. Because when she's at R6, she assists with her 1st skill on like 15% of all allies attacks. And of course we have Linxia with the disease as well. And most importantly, I think this is where Tang Xuan is probably going to shine a little bit more, even though there are no AoEs on this fight. But he does have a collection of very consistent debuffs, especially in longer fights. So you have defense breaks, which while I do not like it being so low of a proc chance of 40%, it's still pretty useful considering that he has 100% disease on his kit. Now moving on to point number 4, this is something that is very important to you guys, I think. So Phobetor cannot have his debuffs extended. So some of you guys might be thinking, okay, so I'm just going to sleep Phobetor and then I'll just keep extending the debuff with the twins, for example. That is actually not going to work. I've actually tested this out. You cannot extend the sleep debuffs or any kinds of debuffs on Phobetor. Now point number 5, Phobetor has no allies. So I know it's written over here in the Phobetor projection guide that last but not least, when Phobetor's minions are not present, remember to use single target damage, blah 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 blah. So it's kind of like saying that the minions are going to be present, but actually this is not what it means. This is just bad English. So essentially Phobetor has no allies whatsoever. Now point number 6 and our final point for the day as well, Phobetor gains power boost when he reaches damage threshold. So some of you guys might be asking, okay, so why don't I just like perma sleep him, perma AP control him? That should be fine, right? But that's not the case, because the thing is, whenever you reach certain damage thresholds, his stats actually go up accordingly. So power boost is exactly what's happening here. His speed is going to go up by a lot. I think his resistance is also going to fly up like a massive amount. And of course on top of that, his DPS and his just like his tankiness and all that. I feel like his entire kit is just improved with the power boost, so that's something that we're going to observe as well. So these are just the main few takeaways for the Phobetor fight. He's very simple, just bring sleep, just bring diseased, and you're good to go. So even for me right now on my PTR account with like very subpar relics across the board, I'm still able to have like a triple S plus score, so I think that's pretty awesome. So let's take a look at how this run works. So as you can see, each of my teams always have one sleep Esper and one disease Esper, or at least that amount. And of course on top of that, we want to have some kind of like either AP control or speed up buff. So for my first team, I have speed up. Okay, actually no, I think my first team is a little bit of an overkill. Yeah, maybe I should do something like this. Okay, so for my first team, I have speed buff, I have attack buff, I have AP reduction, I have AP gain, I have disease, I have sleep. It's kind of like perfect, right? I'm just missing a bit on the heals. But the thing is, I don't care too much about healing because I just care about controlling and landing a lot of attacks. And that is my goal. Now the same goes for my second team as well. I have sleep, I have diseased, I have speed up, I have AP control, I have AP pushing as well, and I also have a little bit of healing, which is gonna be a little bit helpful, I guess. And for my third team, this is gonna be the same thing, although I don't have them built at all, but this is just like an idea of how your team might look like. So without further ado, let's start and let's take a look at how this run works. So very typical fight, it looks exactly the same as your typical Phobetor. There's no difference except that there are no minions on either side of the boss right now. So we're just gonna push AP, we're gonna try to reduce his AP as well, very nice. And try to sleep. We did not land the sleep, rip. Okay, that's a major rip. So now he's actually gonna move. So that sucks for us, but at least we landed the disease right now. So when he uses his third skill, he's not actually gonna gain the buff, right? What buff is that? Let's take a look at that once more. Sweet Nightmare buff, right? Okay, so it doesn't matter that we failed to sleep because our Celine, she still has a sleep on her first skill. So that's something that we can rely on. And if you notice, the boss is actually gaining a lot of power boost, right? See? Can you see that? More power boost. And now the boss is asleep, and it's actually very easy for us to like damage him and all that. So very easy stuff. So I think the main problem with this fight is that the power boost scales very fast and very effective. So the boss becomes very tanky and he gains a ton of speed very soon. And he just becomes extremely speedy and very hard to manage and very hard to put to sleep again. So there is a major gatekeeping factor here and it's very obvious. So when you're trying this for yourself, you realize that, hey, wow, it's super hard for you to actually put the boss to sleep. But of course now it seems like we are still doing fine, but that's because our score is still relatively low. So I think when we hit about the 1 million mark, that's where we start to see his resistances go up a little bit and his speed as well. So you start to notice that if you take a look at the bottom over here, his speed is just moving slightly slower than the rest of my Espers, but eventually he's going to move even faster than my Espers, which is the part that gets very scary. Because he's going to take multiple turns and he can even lap some of your Espers sometimes. So we just need to pray that Celine gets her sleep, her third skill sleep, and that is 2 turns that we have bought for ourselves. And then we just try to AP reduce as much as possible, and that's about it. So as you can see, we are not using a healer, and the reason for that is because we can just control the boss, and that's going to be fine, right? So we don't necessarily need to heal. But of course, if you want to play safe, then yes, definitely do try to get a healer as well. And of course, we do have some debuffs here, which I just realized as well. This is called, Celestial Dim as well. So this is going to be the same debuff that Counter Sonica actually has, which is whenever the boss takes a turn, the healing and shield effects on my team is actually reduced. Okay, so Celestial Dim is also in effect in the Phobetor fight as well. I did not actually know that. But yeah, maybe I should put it down on the list on the left. So whenever the boss moves, right, yeah, your healing efficacy is going to go down as well. So it probably don't make so much sense to bring healers. Just bring a lot of control. I think that's a lot better. Of course, ideally, you do not want to have to receive damage at all, but that is the goal. Your objective is just to not receive damage. So if you feel like your control is lacking a little bit, then try to figure out like what's the problem here. Is it because you need better cooldowns? Is it because you need more accuracy? What exactly is it, right? So hopefully we can put him to sleep and then we should be okay, because right now he's moving super fast. I'm not sure whether you can see, but he's really moving very, very fast right now. Okay, it's a really good thing that we have Embla here because the disease is like perpetual. For the most part, it is perpetual. But yeah, it's seemingly very difficult for us to land the sleep right now. So Celine is having a lot of problems with landing the sleep debuff. Oh, we managed to get a sleep, nice. Okay, so that's about it, right? That's it for our first team, more or less. So let's take a look at whether he retains his skills or not, his cooldowns. Yeah, he does retain his cooldowns. Okay, so that's very interesting, right? So now the boss does not have his third skill up. And one thing that I noticed is that right now, the boss actually lost all of his power boosts because he's clearly super slow right now. I'm not sure whether you can see it, but he's clearly super slow. So it seems like every single team that you go past, Phobetor actually resets his power boost status. I feel like it, right? It seems like it. Yeah, it seems like his resistances are super low as well. We are landing all our AP downs, and we are landing our sleeps as well. So yeah, I think that is probably the crux of it. So the thing is, as you move in between our teams, he actually resets his power boost. So that's the main thing. So if you want to score a lot of points, you need to have 3 teams that are built very well in order for you to farm all the points that you can farm. Yeah, so I more or less can confirm that the most important debuff here is, okay, sleep is very important, but AP down is extremely crucial as well. Healing is not so efficient because you kind of want to take more turns and you kind of want to prevent the boss from moving. That is your goal. So healing should not be your priority, I think. But of course, this is mini-maxing for more endgame players, or at least players with much better relics, much better stats, just much better everything. So yeah, healing is not important, it seems. Because if you're not able to control the boss properly, then the problem is not in having healing, because we have the Celestial Demon ourselves, which is reducing the healing efficacy of our Espers, right? Kind of similar logic to Dark Star Lord, where healing is not that good. That's why I don't even bring like dedicated healers for like my second team. Alright, let's just try to confirm our theory. Let's see whether is he really slow right now. Yep, he is super slow, isn't it? He's on par with some of my Espers. And some of my unbuilt Espers as well. Like my Gabrielle, for example, she has like no stats. But for some reason, he is still a little bit slower than her. Right, can you see that at the bottom? He is still a little bit slower. Yeah, so the power boost definitely reset. So that is going to be the main thing, the main catch over here. So this is my assumption, right? Healing is not important. AP is very important. AP down is very important. Speed up, speed down, sleeping, diseased. All these are very important debuffs. Okay, maybe disease is probably not super important, especially if you can really control him so well. So that's something for you to consider. If you're more of like really trying to push for mini-maxing your efficacy on Phobetor, then maybe the disease debuff is actually not necessary at all, but it's a huge risk. Alright, so that's about it. That's the end of the Phobetor run. We improved our score by a massive amount just because I swapped my Espers around so that it's a little bit more efficient this time around. So yeah, 3.5 million or something like that. We are going to choose the Tyranny set, I guess. Okay, so we got a bunch of stuff. Wow, we even got a Flawless here. Oh wow, this is decent. It's not bad. Okay, so the rest are kind of garbage. But yeah, so that's it for this run. We actually did 40 damage to the boss. Wow. Anyway, so that's it for this video. Let me know if any other questions down in the comment section below. This is going to be like the easiest boss for you guys to handle. I'm sure you guys have it. Just have a lot of accuracy and you are good to go, right? AP reductions, slow, defense breaks, diseased, and sleep. These are all like the most important debuffs. So you need a lot of accuracy. So anyway, with that said, hope you guys enjoyed today's content. If you did, don't forget to give a thumbs up. It really helps the channel, and subscribe for more Dislyte content. Now with that said, this has been Dairy Free to Play, and as always, I will see you in the next video.